All right, so I'm pretty sure that this is every heart-shaped stone that I have. Um, there's a song, I haven't even heard it, and I can't tell you how long. I think the singer's name is something Perry, Christine Perry, maybe. Um, the song Jar of Hearts, and I was like, well, I can just get a few hearts out. That's fine. No. All the hearts and representing all the chakras. And then we have this big quartz crystal heart that I've had for quite a long time that I love, and it does have some rainbows in it. But yeah, Jar of Hearts is all I can hear. And I don't know exactly what the message is yet because I've got several decks out that I think are going to be helpful. But there were stones, satin spar, if you'd like to call it that, selenite, garnet. So these are not hearts, but little garnet. And it feels like not all of these stones are going to be for the people that need it. Because I'm hearing 111 on the clock, people that need it. So whatever resonates with you. The stones are pyrite, smoky quartz, sunstone, labradorite, and garnet. So those are kind of the additional stones to the hearts. Now, the interesting thing is, well, I guess let me sing the part of the song. Hi, I'm Rebecca, Empathic Crow. By the way, some of these messages, the more I tap in, the more that I connect, the more that I ground myself and allow myself to just live in a way. It was 1:55 on the clock. I don't know why that's important. In a way that I honor my intuition and work to help others to trust their intuition, the messages just come through even more. This happened actually when I first started really getting into Empathic Crow last year. It was just because I was working so much. I didn't have the capacity, 222 on the clock, especially when I was in such a severe burnout, to connect. And it's like, I've already come back online emotionally, mentally, and things like that. And I love, some people don't, but I love the person that I'm becoming and how I can actually be calm. I can actually not feel like I have to wear my watch all the time, be available to everyone all the time. And people aren't necessarily happy with that. And maybe somebody needs to hear that because that's not something I was planning on sharing. Not that there's anything that I was planning on in this. Now, I like this little lizard carved hematite. I got it at a Goodwill. And I will tell you, whether your gemstones come from even someone you know or a reputable shop or whatever, please cleanse the energy of them because it can pick up, of course, other people's energy. It could be the people, if it's in a store, that pick up that stone, or I think I said this before, mail carriers, things like that. You know, not that the mail carriers are going to have negative energy, but 333 on the clock, energy is energy. And even if it's just that you're having a bad day, your energy can resonate and stay in places. But anyway, this, because I'm seeing the King of Wands card and the lizard that's on it. He looks a lot like that lizard, if you can see him in this light. And I didn't even think about that. That's funny. I had my labradorite rose. These are two of the last stones, that and the rhodonite coffin. No, that's rhodochrosite. I can't say it right, but you may know what it is. But basically, whoever this is going around collecting jars of hearts, whoever's hurt your heart, with love, it's time to, with love and maybe a little tossing it on the floor, like the card the other day. I don't know where it went. I may have to just find it after we do the reading. It probably went under the desk. Yep. Okay. Out of respect, we'll go ahead and pull it back up here. But we'll put it over to the side again with this smoky quartz. You can't see it. There we go. And you're the rose. The highly intuitive rose. And so because this is labradorite. And what I'm hearing is it's time for you to, I'm seeing somebody stomping on a heart. Don't stomp on anyone's heart. But it's you protecting your heart and not allowing other people into your energy to the point that you feel like you're a fragile flower. You're not a fragile flower. You can be soft and nurturing like a flower, but you are not fragile. And if other people make you feel that way, then this is where we're not hurting them or anything, but we're letting that go. We're releasing that and letting it rest. You can wish them well. You can even wish them healing, but you let it go, like I said, with love, because ridiculous great. I may be saying that wrong. RHO, I'm not going to spell it, but we're letting them go with love. So, already 6 minutes in, let's see what's going on. So it was called the Modern Witch Tarot by Lisa Sturl. So with that, I know, and I have not pre-shuffled these cards because there are so many stones that I was gathering up. Oh, these cards are so hard to shuffle. I love how thick they are, but they are hard to shuffle, especially when you're older like me and you've got arthritis. It may be more. We'll see. Next Thursday, I've got a visit to check into some of the hypermobility to see if it's more than just hypermobility. All right, I'm going to do one more shuffle, even though my shuffle of this has been very poor. But at the same time, as I'm pulling them, I'm shuffling the cards. So it's not like they don't get shuffled. This 7 of Cups is like sticking around. So we'll go ahead and pull that 7 of Cups out. And notice we've got a rose, we've got a heart, and we've got a snake. Now that's a lizard, but how interesting that our top 3 cards are basically these stones right here, okay? We've got a fist that's holding on to a thread. No, it's a fist, but the cloud behind it looks like a thread. So it's almost like if you've ever seen that image of the hand that's holding onto the rope, like you're trying to keep someone from drowning, but they're not even, if they're capable, they're not even trying to help out. They're not doing anything. And so you're just drowning with them because they don't even see. Now, we're going out of the drowning example, but you're holding onto this rope. Now another song cut. What is it? Oh, Apologize by One Republic. I'm holding on your rope, got me 10 feet off the ground. I'm hearing what you say, but I just can't make a sound. It's too late to apologize. Because here's somebody, in the cups, here's somebody that's been going around. Who do you think you are? Running around leaving scars, collecting your jar of hearts, tearing love apart. Now, it doesn't mean that they're a bad person, right? Because, and this is one of the difficulties that those of us that are highly empathic have, is that we can see the hurt, we can see the pain, we can see the trauma. We think we can love it away. And Spirit's saying, you can't love it away. Like I said, I don't know that I've brought the coffin, even in a Halloween reading, out onto the table, because I'm like, not everybody's going to get a coffin, and that it's like with skulls, it's not necessarily a morbid thing, but people think that it is. You know, a lot of things only have meaning because you place it on them. So even when it comes to your relationships in the future, you've been in the situation where you just have been collecting all these scars yourself because of these people that collect jars of hearts, right? And for you with the cups, it's recognizing that you are still going to interact with people who may hurt you sometimes. The difference in the choice is how you respond to that hurt, how long you stay, how long you allow it to affect you. So, you know, if you may find someone, this looks like a Christmas wreath actually, but it could be your victory wreath. Someone that, you know, you enjoy, I'm just seeing Christmas now, the holidays with. They could feel like a hurricane, and sometimes that may be okay. Sometimes people may be a mix of sunshine and hurricane, whatever that phrase is, and it's wonderful. But there's a balance. It's not all take. The snake is not necessarily a bad thing. I've got a snake skin up here, full shed, crazy, the whole thing in one piece, that I found last year, which was perfect timing for me because there was a lot of old things that I was shedding. I was forced to shed because of the burnout that put me in this state where I no longer could take on everything that I had tried to take on before, whether people asked me to or not. Here I was, little Miss Sweetheart or whatever. And not that I don't have a big heart, but I also was trying to fix everything, keep everybody copacetic and whatnot. And I feel like this is important to say because whoever this reading is for, and it's more than just one of you, you're doing the same crap. And we know that it's putting us in the state where we're getting frustrated. We recognize that we cannot fix everything for everyone, but we're still doing it. And so this is you making a choice for yourself, no one else. This choice has got to be for you. All right, let's see what else is going to come out of the, there was a bee or something that looked like it was about to bop into my window. I don't know where that word came from, but yeah, it looked like it was about to crash into my window real quick as I was moving the card. Maybe it's the same carpenter bee that was trying to get in the, buzzing around me and trying to get in the camera when I was outside with the message that came through about judgment, ourselves and others, and the butterflies, and not seeing the beauty because of the things that are irritating you. And 11:55 on the clock, that perfect timing of the carpenter bee flying right in front of the camera, like really close. And I don't know if I've said this, but it was funny because when I watched that video back, because I don't always remember, most of the time I don't remember what I say, I'll remember the energy. But when I watched that video back, at the very end, that carpenter bee buzzes right behind my head, and it is so loud you can hear it buzzing behind me. It's hilarious. All right, Spirit, where are we going from here? So being mindful of your choices. The other thing that I'm seeing here is a lot of blue. So not just being mindful of your choices, but also feeling comfortable saying what it is that you want. Speaking up for yourself. I just heard cloud 9, and this is 7. This is not 9. And then I lifted the sunstone. So it's not pretending everything's rainbow, sunshines, things like that, but being honest. And this is going to feel a bit uncomfortable. When I'm looking at her and she's looking at the fish and she's kind of just, what I'm getting is it's a sing-songy voice, and it's like, who is that? I don't know. I'm seeing Snow White, but it's like this hope. You want to hope, and that's not a bad thing, that things are going to be better. We're still in the cups. You're hoping for the rose. You're hoping for the heart. But this is the energy that you get out of. You don't want to just accept this little fish when you could have, I heard the whole sea. You don't necessarily want the whole sea. But when you could have something different. Tell me a little bit more about this, Spirit. This feels like I'm going to look like I'm crazy. But this is what's coming through. So we're going with it. Oh, the 9 of Swords. Yeah. You don't want to go, shoot, now I'm seeing that website, Plenty of Fish. You don't want to go for the little fish on Plenty of Fish, right? And then here you are agonizing about it at night, 9 of Swords. It didn't go the way that you wanted it to. You don't want that. So don't choose that cup. You've already been there. So that cup you can eliminate. Whatever cup that is for you, eliminate that cup because you've already been there. So we want to use some discernment. She still has her heart in the forefront. Okay. So we have some pink heart chakra. We've got a little bit of green done here, but it's muted. So that heart is, fragile flower. I had forgotten I had said that. Yeah. So you got the flowers here. So you're not a fragile flower. And this yellow orange right here is you being able to become more confident with your solar plexus and your sacral chakra. leading into your passions. Like I said, when I talked about speaking and saying what you want, sacral chakra, you're going to be actually focused on what you want, what brings you joy, what lights you up. That makes sense why the sunstone is so important to someone. What lights you up? What brings you joy? 15:15 on the clock. What is it that you want? Or even this pyrite being important. For someone, it's solar plexus. What is it that helps you to feel just good, less anxious, feeling calm, feeling, I'm just hearing in your element, shiny and new, shiny and new. Dang it, now I'm hearing shiny, happy people holding hands. That's that page of cup energy, because everybody is not going to be shiny, happy all the time. It's just not going to happen. And 15:55 on the clock, it doesn't have to happen that way. So this is you learning. I feel like you've learned this lesson many times, so learning is not necessarily the right word. Remembering. There's a lot of remembering we have to do, because we can convince ourselves of so many things, especially when we love people. But this is you remembering that you don't have to put up with this, and you don't have to go through this energy for long periods of time. You may feel it, but then you can move through it and choose differently, do something different. Anything else from the tarot before we start looking at some other cards? There's also a bit of blue on that duvet, comforter, whatever you want to call it. And so, again, it's maybe you're not speaking up for yourself, but it's something that's necessary. There's a lot of blue in all three of these cards, actually. Yeah, the Nine of Wands. So this is that Jar of Hearts energy. Whatever choices that you've made that have led to these wands, the thing that I'm most hopeful about with this is look at her determination. So she's already got 9 wands down. Well, 8 wands down. She's holding the 9th in her hand, but she's still determined. She has the yellow shoes on. So she's got that solar plexus confidence coming out, and she's got this orange on. So again, that orange and yellow, sacral and solar plexus chakra. And she's standing firmly on her feet. But she looks like she's ready for a fight. And this is where we've got to soften a little bit, but not to the point that you feel like you're in that fragile flower energy again, okay? If you are, and it makes sense after this, of course you're going to be in a more, like I'm just seeing Karate Kid, you know, like people just knocking each other out. And the thing is, or competition, and some people are playing dirty. But the thing is, you want to use your discernment. Okay, you're going to have your intuition. Definitely use that. When you're making these choices, you're using your intuition. You're saying, okay, so what feels right? Not what feels good, not what looks good, what feels right. And trusting yourself, trusting your intuition to know what feels right to you. And then using your discernment. So these swords, that clarity, speaking clearly, clear thought, things like that. Instead of it getting to the point where you're overthinking it, that you allow yourself to just ask yourself, does this feel like it did before? Okay, does that mean that it's the same or it's not? So that you're not going into it always looking for a fight, because that makes it really hard for us to be in a loving energy, because then we're just expecting that everything is going to be like it was in the past. And then you're treating the person, friend, family, romantic relationship, whatever, in the same way that you were treating other people. And that's not going to help you out. You can have, I'm seeing the money and the jewels and everything. And it's like, you can have all the money and the jewels and everything, 1919 on the clock, that you want. But if you aren't confident and comfortable in yourself and allowing yourself to help with healthy boundaries, when I was in my previous role, I'd say it's not a wall, but it's not completely open either. It's like a net, so that you can give that loving energy out with boundaries. You can receive it with boundaries, and you don't let that energy exchange become overwhelming one way or the other. Anything else from the tarot? the Tower. It's not going to feel good to separate this out, because like I said, we got to, whatever that lizard is for you, we've got to let that go. We got to let that rest. It's not going to feel good. So I know these cards are not feeling like hopeful things at all. The Tower never does feel good, especially with the visuals and most of the decks for people, but it's understanding that it's just saying this has to change. The choices that we make, the ways that we allow people to treat us, the ways that we engage in relationships, the things that we do, those behavioral patterns that start at a very young age, like even with the Grounded and Glowing, you know, part of that lesson 2, module 2 is unlearning identity, because it's not even necessarily our identity. It is the structures, it is the roles, it is the family systems that were put in place that you learned from a young age. This is why the self-trust is so important, because it's not that you can't trust yourself. You learned, you were taught, and that's why you learn. You were taught to not trust yourself, because from a very young age, 2111, not sure if that's important, but from a very young age, people would tell you that's not right, that's not what's going on, and you learn to doubt your own choices. So then that gets us into these patterns where we get into those Nine of Swords situations and feel like there's just been so many. It's the Nine of Wands. I don't even want love anymore because look at what it ends up as. And that's not what Spirit's trying to say to you. You can have love, but it can't be in the same way that you've done in the past. It can't be in the mode of getting ready to fight. It can't be in the mode of being completely enamored with and allowing yourself to get lost in someone. It can't be in that mode where you're constantly feeling like something's wrong or is going to go wrong, or that it's all falling apart. So this is where you hear us say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If something doesn't fit, don't try to make it. But at the same time, if it does fit, it's not that I'm telling you or any other reader is telling you what to do. It's that we're saying what you're being called to do is to evaluate for yourself what feels true. That's using your intuition. And then discerning for yourself, what are the choices that you make? Even if you do a reading with me, past and present, this is what I tell people, are usually pretty accurate. It's already happened, 22:44 on the clock, or it is happening. However, future is possibility and potential. Why? Because you make the choice. You have choices. You make the choice. 22:55. I don't know. Lots of numbers are just right up in my view when today. Goodness gracious. Like the energy of this is just, there's a lot of resistance, there's a lot of hurt, there's a lot of like deflection, but not in the way that you're trying to put things off on other people. It's more of a, I don't want to think about this, like that this has been too much, so I don't want to think about it. I'm just not going to do it, or I'm just going to stand here and anybody that tries to do anything to me, I'm going to, go after them, whatever. And as Spirit saying there's got to be a balance. That's not going to be helpful. I'm trying to think of, I guess we'll go to the Love Oracle, because I didn't really know. Yeah, you're feeling like this is a battle. Are they playing? Are we playing? Are we having fun? Or are you making fun of me? Are we having a battle? Or did you think that this was a joke? That's what I'm getting. And there's the Ten of Cups. Like, you want the Ten of Cups. You just aren't sure that you're going to be able to get it because of what you've had before. So let's see. I am going to be standing up and in your face. We're going to get the Love Oracle. All right. So with this Love Oracle, we are going to see what comes out. Whew. Energy is a bit crazy. It's not crazy. It's just, it's confusing. I mean, that's the way it feels, and it makes sense. Of course you're going to be confused. If you feel like you're always in this energy of having to worry too much, Maybe things feel like it's the right thing. You feel like things are going really great. You're just totally into this person or friendship or whatever. And then all of a sudden it feels like out of the blue, it changes. And what I'm hearing Spirit say is, it's not out of the blue. It's not out of the blue. So they're showing me like the Twister and the Wizard of Oz. And it's like, they say, it's not like you're just being picked up and thrown into a situation. Again, they're taking me back to those choices, that sometimes we make choices that aren't necessarily healthy for ourselves, whether that's a choice to go into an old situation that didn't work out very well, or a choice to go into a new situation that doesn't feel right. And this is where you're being called to use your intuition and to trust your intuition and use your discernment. All of us have intuition. It is you will hear me say this, I don't know how many times, because I'm going to keep saying it, 25, 50,000 times. All of us have intuition as part of our survival skills. However, we are taught to not trust it. And I will go ahead and say what I say because it's the truth. Children and animals run on their intuition. Animals continue unless they're taught not to. Same with children. Children will run on their intuition until they are taught, no, that's not true. That's not what was going on. No, you can't know that. You shouldn't do that. That's an imaginary friend. So yeah, children are highly intuitive, highly connected. It's when others tell them, or even for us as adults, that's not right. This is where the term gaslighting comes from, right? Oh no, you're wrong about that. That's not what happened. That's not right. Trust your intuition. But sometimes those anxieties can make it to where we overthink and make it to where we start to even doubt ourselves, or we may even create situations in our head because we're so worried about all the things that have happened in the past. All right, so we're going to take some of these cards, or all of these cards. We're just going to stack them up because that was a lot of cards. I feel like I need to take a grounding breath. And we're already 27 minutes in. All right, let's do this. All right. So in a relationship, what's going on here? For those who need to hear this, for those who this resonates with, what's going on when it comes to past relationships? We've got twin flame, mirroring shared feelings and reflections. So with this twin flame, I'm seeing those trauma bond type relationships where each of you have trauma. Usually you're going to have someone who's highly empathetic. And it's kind of like when I described trauma in my old role on one end of the spectrum. And we were talking about one extreme. You have the more empathetic people, possibly their coping style defense mechanism is fawning, people pleasing. They try to anticipate others' needs. They try to prevent other people from feeling hurt. They're over functioning, overdoing, trying so hard to just be the safety net for everyone and to keep everybody calm by focusing on everybody else and not themselves. And then on the other end of the spectrum, because of trauma, you have people who may have more narcissistic traits. Not saying they're narcissist, only a licensed person can diagnose, right? But they have traits where they're so afraid of getting hurt, whereas the other person is, one, knows what it feels like to be hurt, trying to prevent others from being hurt, and two, trying to create safety outside of themselves. Oh, that was a pretty butterfly. The other person is like, this is not happening again. I am not a child and I am not in that relationship. This person's going to be, where is she at? Our 9 of Wands lady and the energy that I saw her in. So this person is like, I am going to make sure that I get you before you get me. And I'm going to make sure that you don't get one up on me. And so they are going to be the people who are more reactive. So you have the people who are trying to calm the situation, the people that are more reactive, and a lot of times they attract each other because you understand and you get each other. And unfortunately, the more empathetic person is like, oh, I see your wounds, I can help you. And the other person is like, but I am going to let my guard down sometimes, but I don't like that because you get me to do that. You make me feel safe. You make me feel more comfortable than I ever have. I don't like that. They double down and they are going to go back into this defensive mode as quick as they can. And it's not good for either people. I'm not going to say, one is better than the other. Both of them have a lot of work that they need to do. Now, we've also got family, fertility, parenthood, and pregnancy. If you're in this type of relationship, whether that's with family, friends, or a romantic relationship, then you are going to be tied into this situation where this family situation is difficult. Whether it's with a partner, 30, 33 on the clock, don't know why that's important. Whether it's with a partner, whether it's with a family member, or it's even a friendship. If it's unbalanced, creating the cohesion that you're going to want in a parenting situation, in a family situation, or even pregnancy is going to be really hard. And so it's going to be unbalanced. And there's a fear. I'm just seeing a fear sometimes in these relationships. Like there's a hope. I see the flowers and I see a hope. And also a fear of that parenthood role. 3113. I haven't called that one out before. Not sure what that's about. Anything else on this? Because, with children, that's a responsibility that it's really hard if you ever want to get away from this, to get away from it. And I just realized, I don't know why I hadn't seen this. Like there's a flower here and there's two people with the flower between them. It's a very weird image. It's like they're eating the flower. But either way, like that twin flame, I'm sure it's just showing that they are that close. But twin flame doesn't always mean that it's good. Usually there's some healing that both people need to do, that they could be a good match. Like it's not that it's a bad choice. They could be a good match. Your body's not telling you the wrong thing. And if you believe in past lives, you may even have been coupled up, lovers, whatever, in a past life. You may have been really close in a past life, but you may both be on a different level of healing and a different level of your journey, and it's just not going to work out. If one of you has one focus and the other has another, it's going to feel like constant conflict. Anything else from the love cards for that question? All right, so what's getting you into these relationships are feeling like this is the one, this is my twin flame, we know each other so well, and wanting to create that happy family. Yep, that's what that was. That 10 of Cups, whether it's with, like I said, it feels romantic, but take it however it resonates for you, because I'm also hearing friend or family, and we do have a family card here. Yeah, your 10 of Cups gets thrown on the floor. Everything is getting thrown on the floor lately. It's not going to work out because 3311, it's not even. All right, so what does the person this resonate with, or the collective, the viewers that this resonate with, what do they need to focus on? What do they need to focus on? Because we want a healthier relationship. So is there anything that'll let us know? 3333. Perspective, better off, happiness, clear headspace. I mean, spirit, jokes for days, right? Absolutely. So you see this person in the family card and this person, they're on their own. And they're out in this area where there's this beauty. And so it's considering things. Because if you're building relationships with others, you want to take a moment to consider it. Even with friendships, you want to take a moment to consider how it feels to you. All right. Yeah, on the bottom, we've got beauty. Charming, graceful, and kind-hearted. So you just have to be careful, because sometimes charming people are not so charming behind closed doors. But notice, I don't know if that's lavender, but it looks like lavender. Very calming. And we got the butterfly. So you are beautiful. And even when you make decisions that do not work out for you, you're still beautiful. And you still are worthy, and you can get back into this calm 3434, calm energy and a space of love, but it's focusing on yourself first. Even the butterfly's wings look a bit like a heart. So yeah, we're going to move the cards around Just so many stones on my desk right now. We'll see if there's anything else coming out of here. I know we're already at 35 minutes. We're back to longer reads, and that's okay. But like I said, it's because I'm in that energy of being more connected again. Divine feminine, yin, feminine energy. Yeah. So with that 9 of Wands, where it's like that Karate Kid moment, like I said, it's softening a little bit, allowing yourself to nurture yourself, not just others. With this orange, it's that sacral chakra, allowing yourself to feel joy, pleasure, passion, intimacy, that you deserve all those things, just like your partner does, no matter what your gender is. You deserve all those things. It's all about having a balance. So, put these here. Anything else? I feel like I'm wanting to go to the Crystal Banner Signs of the Times deck. When I shuffle these, I have to look away because they mess with my eyes. Don't know if they mess with yours. But let's just get some signs for you. Not because Spirit's saying don't depend on them. Don't depend on them. Not that you should depend on the signs as this is the one, but signs to let you know that you're on the right path. So what are some signs for those who are resonating with this message? What are some signs? There we go. Fence, which I'm sure is boundaries. 26, which breaks down to an 8. That's the Strength card in the tarot deck. So boundaries, you definitely want to have clear boundaries. And what's calling to me the most is the fall, the autumn leaves. So whatever you see in this card, whether it's I'm hearing don't necessarily go for the white picket fence. There was a song that was trying to come in, but I don't even know what it is, to be honest. I can't think of a song with a white picket fence. I'm sure there is one. The autumn leaves. All I'm hearing is California Dreaming. All the leaves are brown and the sky is gray. For a walk on a winter's day, I'd be safe and warm. So again, I feel like it's about balance, because with that song, it's, that's not it's not the nice image that we're getting from this photo. And so, California Dreaming. Ooh, I'm being taken back to the message about the dream with the Sting song, Desert Rose, where it's the dream is not necessarily what you're wanting to shoot for, what you're wanting to have. It's that it gives you inspiration. So with these white picket fences and the California Dreaming, I feel like it leans right into that boundaries, that it's talking about not just going for what looks good, what people say, oh, this is what you should have, like the white picket fence and the 3.5 kids or whatever it was that people would say, the job that's stable. It's not that it has to tick all the boxes. There we go. That the person, friendship, family, lover, romantic, whatever, that they have to tick all the boxes. But again, it's going back to that healthy. There's a balance. There are going to be days that are great and don't feel so great. And there are going to be days when you are just sunshine and rainbows. But your partner, you want to have a balance with that. Let's see. Any other signs or anything else that can be a sign to those that this resonates with? Traffic cone, caution, which is 32, breaks down to a 5, change. Change is coming. You can't stop it. Change is a constant, right? But again, Spirit is really leaning into telling you, you want to be cautious and set your boundaries and come at things in a balanced way. But I'm also getting the nudge, don't shut everything out. Don't shut everything out. All right, so with this card, and that handprint always cracks me up because it feels like a crime scene thing to me. Or it could be like Rose and the Titanic. But even with that, this is 18, which breaks down to a 9, Palm and Destiny. But what I'm seeing with that is, oh, I lost my train of thought for a second. What was I going to say? Because I was going to reference a card here. Oh, the Destiny, Twin Flame. That's what it was. All right, look, both of these cards are white and gray. That's why I was seeing this card here. But that caution is being cautious that you're not still looking at it as, oh, this is my twin flame. We're destined to be together no matter how they treat me. Spirit says you're done with that. You're done with that. Yeah, stars. 33, which breaks down to a 6, divine guidance. So trust divine guidance versus what you feel like is a destined relationship. And also trust yourself and use your discernment. We are at 40 minutes and 59 seconds. I feel like that's a pretty full message. I don't know that there's anything else that can come out from this, but yeah, don't focus on the people that may look good on the outside, but they're going around collecting those jar of hearts, and you feel like your heart has been one of them. Protect your heart, but also allow yourself to be open to love, open to the possibility of love in whatever form that is. But for these situations that didn't work out, we got to release them. It wasn't meant to be, and that's okay. Because look at all that you have coming up in the future, even with this pyrite. I know that's fool's gold, so you want to make sure that you're not thinking you have the real deal because of this destiny twin flame stuff. Some things are destined. Like even when I met my second husband, he's not here right now, but when I met him, I didn't feel anxious at all. And I remember thinking, this is the weirdest thing, because I have never not felt anxious, even going on a first date. But around him, it just felt like we'd known each other forever. And I'm not saying that we didn't have to learn each other's stuff and we didn't have some trauma things to work through, responses where, you know, the I'm sorry, or, oh, I didn't mean to do that. And you learn to deal with that. But that's what this twin flame, when it is, and I'm not saying we're twin flames. I'm not trying to claim all that. I'm not trying to tell you too much of my story either. But when you have a true partner, when the two of you are growing together, when the two of you are setting and learning and respecting each other's boundaries, when you understand that it's not always 50-50, because sometimes somebody's not going to be doing well and somebody else is going to have to step up and give more, or the other person isn't doing well, same thing. But you're able to work out and manage it. Call that twin flame, call that soulmate, call that whatever you want to. Comfort or security, love, those are the things that it is. You don't have to put a label on it, but you don't want to go for whatever looks like the shiny thing just because it feels like destiny. You are going to feel it in your body. So again, trust your intuition, use your discernment, understand that if it feels off, it is. And that may be because it feels like something from before, or the other person is in a weird energy or whatever. It may not be something that means everything is off, but you have to use your discernment and really think clearly, not just this 9 of Swords energy where we're overanalyzing it and anxious, right? Or this 5 of Wands where we're like, are we fighting? Are we playing, or what? You got to communicate with each other. But also being able to know that if it feels right, then it is. 4411. You'll know if something feels off. A lot of times we feel it and we doubt ourselves, or we look the other way because there are parts of it that feel good. So bottom line, trust yourself. I hope that this reading was helpful to you. I know it was really long. That's why I try to do the timestamp so you can skip through or go to parts that are relevant to you. I know even YouTube has AI that can summarize the reading for you if you like. If you hung in the whole time, oh my God, thank you. 44:44 on the clock. And just thank you for being here, for watching any part of the videos, for commenting. I love those. It really, as I said before, does tickle me. I love to hear that feedback, and or just to know that a message got to someone that it was meant to. That's what this YouTube channel and the general messages are for, or even the social platforms and the shorter messages, is that the message that's coming through gets to who needs it. And the more people that I have watching, subscribing, liking, sharing, whatever, commenting, the more the messages get to where they need to go. And like I said, it lights my heart up. Like, I started with 9 or 10 people that I know around January 2025, and it is now April 2026, and I think I have 130 something. I'm just blown away. I'm amazed. So thank you. Thank you so much. And if you'd like to book a private read, those are available. I do have a limited number of slots each week, and I will be putting up pre-recorded options as well, because those did really well. Even did one recently, and the feedback was amazing. That's what I had done the majority of the time before. Whether I know someone or not, if a message is going to come through, it comes through. So thank you again. Take care, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend, or if you're watching this later than when I post it, week, evening, day, whatever it is for you. Take care.